Hi everybody, welcome to Good Sports Performance. Dr. Tim Baghurst. I wanted to share a little bit about supplements because it's one of those issues that we see all the time. Things all over the shelves that we can buy, literally thousands of products. So which one should you buy? Should you buy them? And if not, why not? If so, what decisions should we make to make sure that they are legitimate and that we're buying the right thing? So really the purpose of this little video is just to explain a little bit about supplements, what we should look out for, and I provide several different keys when you pull something off the shelf that might be able to help you. A key issue here is that supplement users may not realize that manufacturers don't have to give evidence of safety and efficacy being efficiency, effectiveness, before marketing their products. In other words, I can put something on the market and I don't have to prove that it's safe, or I don't have to prove that it works. So under the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of '94, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, we know it as the FDA, cannot inspect supplements until after the products have appeared in the marketplace, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. They can't actually inspect them until they're being sold. That's how it is. And like I said, more than half of all adults in the U.S. use some form of dietary supplement, and the industry is approaching $40 billion. So there's a lot of money involved here. So here's the problem. Consumers can only trust that products contain what manufacturers say they contain. While actual pharmaceuticals are required to contain between 90 and 110% of stated ingredient amounts, researchers have identified dietary supplements that contain between 0 and 150% of what it says. In other words, pharmaceutical companies are restricted when they create a medicine, for example, that they have to fall within strict guidelines of what they say is in there is actually in there. But when we look at dietary supplements, researchers found that there's nothing in there that is said to be in there, or it's not just in there, it's way above what's supposed to be in there, and therefore could be extremely dangerous. So what I want to present with you are kind of some warning signs, some things to look out for when you're purchasing or considering buying supplements. And the first thing is look for misleading or inaccurate statements. So these little things here are examples of things I took photos of today. I went down to a local store. It wasn't even a nutrition store. Found some supplements and just took some pictures of the back. So here you can see that I could be buying a high-energy fat-burning protein. Well, for a start, what? Fat-burning protein? And the trick is, at the bottom of the container, you can see they've got this proprietary blend containing green tea, chicory, coffee, etc., etc. So it's not actually a protein that burns fat, it's protein, and they've dumped a bunch of stuff in there. So be careful about those misleading or inaccurate statements, because most people would look at that and go, oh, sweet, protein, and it burns fat? That's awesome, I want some. And so that's how they sell. Next, look, and we just saw this, look for proprietary blends. What this basically means is we put a bunch of stuff and mixed it together. And they don't necessarily indicate exactly what's on there. And so you can see we've got 3,350 milligrams of stuff in there. Now they say it's got creatine and some branched chain amino acids in here. But that brings me to that third one, which is unequal components. Creatine monohydrate, generally you should only be taking between maybe 5 up to possibly 10 grams of creatine a day. But we don't know how much is actually in this container. And so you don't know how much you're taking each time it says take a scoop. So there's some unequal components. Creatine is not really related to the branched chain amino acids that are below it. It doesn't really fit. And then there's complicated terminology, and a good guide here is really, if you can't pronounce it, it's probably questionable. And so literally I grabbed two. I grabbed two and I said, I don't know what these are. I Googled them. Dipotassium phosphate is kind of like a salt that dissolves quickly. It's considered, and I got this off of Google, likely safe is what it was described in One Health blog, and it's used in fertilizers as well. And then this other one, I'm not even going to guess how to pronounce that. There's been links to cancer. There's numerous potential side effects. Yeah, but if you don't read all of the ingredients, again, you don't really know what it contains until you actually do the research. Next group, any claim that vitamins are an energy source. Now, some of them suggest it. They don't actually state it. They'll kind of hint at it. You know, fortified with vitamin B12 for greater energy, whatever. Yeah, no, it's a vitamin. So be very careful of that. And then also look at the RDA, the recommended daily allowance. Now, the RDA is something I may talk about in future. It hasn't been updated since the 60s, but here we've got something. We've got our B12 and even B6. B12, 2,830% recommended daily allowance. Probably not wise to be consuming that amount of vitamins. And then also look for hidden caffeine amounts, and that's used for the kind of the fat burners or the increased energy kind of advertisements. And here you look, it's got 133 milligrams. It actually indicates how much is in there, but we're actually looking at over 2 espressos there, if we actually figure out what that actually means. And so literally you're drinking 2 espressos when you take this supplement. So again, it's a concern. Then look for fancy terminology, and I've posted a few examples here, and I'm not really going to get into them specifically, but you can see in that one in the middle, we've got a fat catabolizer and beta-3 potentiator. Sounds very good, and so somebody who really doesn't research this stuff may say, oh, that's great, let's do it. They must know what they're doing. Be careful about the blends and the matrices, etc. On that one on the right, again, we've got another proprietary blend. And then down at the bottom, in very small print, it's got calcium disodium EDTA. I don't know what that is. So again, Google my friend. I investigated, and it turns out that it's actually a sweetener. Again, a sweetener that has very strong links to cancer. So be very careful about what is in these and be very vigilant. So again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have supplements. Sometimes they can be valuable in certain situations. And so here are some guidelines which I really suggest that you follow. And the first one is decide whether you really need them. Is it really necessary? Do I really need that protein when I'm eating very well? Look for those 8 warning signs that I've already pointed out. They're clearly significant. Looking on the back, if it looks like a bunch of nonsense, it probably is. Another one, though, is research the company. Some companies, for example, will guarantee their products that they are safe or will not be, nobody will be tested positive for any kind of illegal substance if they consume these, or they guarantee it up to X amount of money. And so those can be useful in terms of recognizing that they stand by their product and they're willing to take a significant financial hit if it's found that it contains something that it shouldn't. And the reason I say that is because in the research that I've done in the past, I've read reports where some supplements have contained things like horse steroids. And so be very, very careful. Then look for the independent research. And I say independent because a lot of times what companies will do will hire somebody like myself, although I'm not a registered dietitian, but a researcher like myself, and say, hey, would you research this supplement in this group of people on weight training or running or whatever it is? And then if the results come back, they use those results to promote their product. Now, it's good that they go independent and contact a researcher like me at a university. At the same time, they may extrapolate the results or maybe twist them to their purposes. So just be cautious, but understand that they are investing some money in independent research, which is a good thing. And like I said before, check their guarantee. Note that some of them will actually back up their statements and be willing to kind of declare that they're safe and will stand by it financially. One of the things I should mention as well, just in closing, is that some supplement companies will provide you with information that they do independently test. And here's a little example. It's actually got a couple of things here. It says it's an informed choice, trusted by sport, and well, these are USDA organic, non-GMO verified, And then the last one, which is a big one, is NSF. Both these first two, Trusted by Sport and NSF, by the way, I'm not endorsing this, but just explaining to you what you should see. They're independently tested. So what that means is that a company, NSF, will actually take this product, they will go away and test it, and they are expecting to find what it says in the back here. And so if it finds what is in the back or on the back is in the product, then we're good. And that's what they're claiming here is, look, this company's saying, look, we're getting this independently tested. We're actually putting what we say in this product. And so that's a valuable little thing to look out for as well when you're looking for supplements. So I hope this helps you in some way when you're making these decisions. You have to be really careful. Just be careful of those things that I mentioned in this presentation. Thanks so much for watching.